This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 10th day of January in the year 2024. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance Gil Teixeira announced today that the government has written to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, seeking a withdrawal of the precautionary measures granted in favor of Chinese landing. The indigenous Carib community in Region 1 that has long complained about a series of human rights violations and mining infractions. The Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, in granting the measures last July, said the people of Chinese landing were in a serious and urgent situation, given that their rights to life and personal integrity was at serious risk. The international body urged the government to take necessary steps to uphold the rights of the indigenous people. But while addressing the issue today during a press conference, Minister Teixeira disclosed that the government is seeking a full withdrawal of the precautionary measures against Guyana.
Because in fact, what we did with Chinese landing, we asked for a withdrawal of the precautionary measures as they're not based on fact. And it's a misrepresentation. So we asked formally to the ISHR to withdraw the petition against Guyana.
Following the granting of the precautionary measures, the government dispatched a non-ministerial fact-finding team to Chinese landing to have a greater understanding of the issues facing the residents there. The residents of Chinese Landing Village Council have been calling for the government to revoke the mining permits issued to a businessman to operate on the land in the village. The Caribbean Court of Justice had flagged the Guyana-Georgian Mines Commission for issuing the businessman with a cease work order. According to the residents, the presence of the outside miners poses a threat to their safety and their well-being, as well as their socio-economic development. In a direct response to the precautionary measures, the government back in August halted all mining activities in the village. Minister Teixeira said the government has since submitted a report to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, which includes a body of evidence to support its position. Though it has received an acknowledgement of the submission, the government has not received a substantive response from the Commission. But the Chinese Landing Village Council is not the only group which has filed a petition against the government at the level of the Inter-American Human Rights Commission or at the level of UN organizations. According to the governance minister, while not a single petition was filed against the country between 2015 and 2020, a total of 9 petitions have been filed since 2021 by a number of non-governmental organizations, including the Guyana Press Association, the International Decade for People of African Descent Assembly Guyana, and the Amerindian People's Association, among others. Only 4 petitions were filed between 1999 and 2015. Minister Teixeira said the increase in petitions recorded since 2020 is not a reflection of increased human rights violation on the part of Guyana, but rather a reflection of the society's confidence in the complaints mechanism in place based on international conventions signed onto by the country. She said in keeping with its obligation, the government has a responsibility to respond to the petitions, and she noted that the majority of those cases, in her view, lack merit.
Our right is to make sure that in our response that we are factual. And I would believe from a social conscience point of view that if one makes a complaint on your country, you should at least be factual. In many of the cases we found of the cases that have been brought, they are not based on fact, they're misrepresentation.
Teixeira said while the individuals and organizations under the conventions that Guyana has ratified over the years have the right to approach various regional and international bodies, they should first consider utilizing the domestic mechanisms in place to seek redress. She said unlike some countries, Guyana has numerous reporting mechanisms in place at the level of the constitutional bodies, such as the Human Rights and Service Commissions, but also non-constitutional bodies such as the Police Complaints Authority. The Human Rights Commission has not been active for a number of years. An opposition member of parliament recently filed a court action to compel the government to establish the Human Rights Commission, as prescribed by the Constitution of Guyana. More news coming up in just a moment.
Lord. I just love to shop in this store. My customers, them gonna love all these things. So many different things in one place. Household items, electronics, toys, stationery, confectionery, exercise equipment, shoes and clothes for men, women and children, school things, costume, jewelry, perfume, makeup. Oh, look the makeup.
Giftland Office Max, Guyana's favorite department store.
It's your time to win big. The Massey Stores Christmas Jackpot promotion is back and bigger than before. Spend $5,000 at any Massey Stores to be the lucky winner of a brand new MGZS and fantastic weekly store prizes from now until January 31st, 2024. What are you waiting for? Head to your nearest Massey Stores to shop now. See our Facebook and Instagram pages for more details. Massey Stores, our family serving your family.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Bust the flavors. We're full of flavors. Bust the flavors, that me crave for. We're full of flavors. Tell your neighbors about the bust the flavors. Grab a bust the flavors. Yeah, thirst buster. Grab a buster. Bust the flavor, taste the savor. Bust the flavors. Bust the flavors.
Twice the fun. Twice the thrill. On your next trip with Copa Airlines, stop over in Panama and enjoy 2 vacations in one at no additional airfare. Because to live life at its fullest, first you have to stop. So next time you fly Copa Airlines, stop over in Panama at no additional airfare.
Ahead of Monday's national budget presentation, the Guyana Public Service Union today said it has made several proposals to the government that it hopes will be taken on board to provide a more comfortable standard of living for the country's public servants. The GPSU hopes that this year's budget will see public servants benefiting more. It wants to see adequate provisions to further increase salaries for public servants, adding that it has repeatedly called for the disparities in the salaries in the public service to be addressed. The union calls on the government to allocate adequate funds in the budget to undertake the rationalization of the salary grades retroactive to the year 2020. The union is also insisting that increases in remuneration should take into consideration the inadequacy of wages, salaries, and allowances. In comparing the remuneration of Guyanese public servants as against public servants throughout the CARICOM states, the GPSU said there is grave disparity in pay. Further, the GPSU has asked the government to revamp the country's tax system, proposing that the income tax threshold be increased to $200,000 per month, or 1/3 of the individual income, which is higher. The Public Sector Workers Union further proposed that the income tax rate be further reduced to 10% on the first taxable $200,000 and 20% on the balance of taxable income, instead of the current methodology of 28% and 40%. The GPSU has also asked the government for a non-taxable allowance of $75,000 per month for dependents, a non-taxable allowance of $100,000 per month for students who are dependents and are pursuing tertiary level education, and a reduction of the value-added tax to 6%. Additionally, the union said there should be a reduction of taxes on building supplies to assist low-income earners to build their own homes, and provision should also be made for low-interest loans for public servants to acquire lands and to build their own homes. The union said risk allowances for workers must be given priority at some agencies, and focus should also be placed on the working conditions of public servants in the various regions. Now let's tell you that the auto sales and construction industries along with electronics have been dominating the list of complaints received by the Competition and Consumer Affairs Commission over the past year. According to the Commission, it received 492 complaints against businesses last year, with a value of more than $481.3 million. In a statement today, the Commission said of those complaints received, 85% were resolved, while investigations into the remaining 15% are ongoing. The Consumer Affairs body said in 2023 there was a 20% increase in complaints when compared to the previous year. The value of the complaints received last year was 84% higher. According to the Consumer Affairs body, complaints against the auto industry dominated the complaints received, followed closely by the electronics and construction industries. The auto industry accounted for the highest value of complaints, tallying to more than $280 million. Aggrieved consumers continue to flock the Competition and Consumer Affairs Commission, seeking redress for faulty items or substandard goods or services. The Commission is once again reminding consumers to always demand their receipts, since it is their main proof of purchase, and to also ensure warranties of no less than 6 months and thoroughly scrutinize every contract before affixing their signatures. With the local justice system facing an increasing number of cases, Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George is urging citizens to consider the use of alternative dispute resolution more. At the opening of Law Year 2024 on Tuesday, Justice George said attorneys should advise their clients to explore alternative dispute resolution, explaining that ADR is any procedure agreed to by the parties of a dispute in which they use the services of a neutral party to assist them in reaching an agreement and avoiding litigation.
We remain an extremely litigious society, especially in the civil jurisdiction, and Mr. Birch-Smith has alluded to this. So I urge our bar, especially the Demerara bar, to persuade their clients to focus on alternative dispute resolution and to be more open to mediation and settlement of cases, thereby allowing for the timelier disposition of matters.
According to the Acting Chief Justice, alternative dispute resolution is the only way to bring down the high number of cases currently before the courts.
Settlement of cases is the only way to manage the high volume of matters. So I urge, let 2024 result in greater settlement of cases, more so through the court mediation services.
She noted that last year, the Supreme Court sponsored a number of mediation training sessions for its staff and other justice sector partners. Meanwhile, the president of the Bar Association of Guyana, Attorney Ronald Birch-Smith, in his remarks, said that there should be consequences for the filing of cases that have no place in the courts.
One of the greatest impediments to our efficient judicial system is the number of cases that are filed by attorneys. There is no way, under ideal circumstances, with all the resources that could reasonably be made available, that we can reasonably expect the judges can dispatch with all of those cases efficiently. The number has to be reduced. The only way in which that can be done is if there are consequences for attorneys persisting in cases that don't belong in court.
To ease the backlog of cases, the government is moving to put an end to preliminary inquiries in the case of criminal cases. Other measures are also being explored. The Judicial Service Commission recently agreed to increasing the number of magistrates in the local system.
Stock the finest in the country, both ceramic and porcelain, tiles and chandeliers you'll see while you shop around stress-free. Well, train stop at warming halls, make your shopping smooth and calm, providing you with quality to match your style that's so unique. Mima Decor.
GCOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors, OLE. Anyone who will be 18 years or over by December 31, 2023 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more is eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM has posted a preliminary list of electors, PLE, at popular locations in all the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check whether your particulars or that of other electors are accurate. You can object to anyone who you believe does not qualify for inclusion in the OLE. To do so, you must be listed in the same divisional list as the person you are objecting to. Visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to make an objection. The objections aspect of this exercise will end on Monday, the 22nd of January 2024. For more information, contact GCOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Look at the breathtaking beauty of the Essequibo. From its pristine rivers to its abundant resources, it's a treasure that belongs to Guyana, and we ask Venezuela to respect the rule of international law.
Our commitment to this land is not just about ownership. It's about preserving its beauty and resources for our people and future generations.
The controversy between Guyana and Venezuela was settled internationally as full, perfect, and final in 1899. Essequibo belongs to Guyana.
GCOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors, OLE. If you will be 18 years or over by December 31st, 2023, and you are a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. If you have changed your address since you were registered, you are required to visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your new area of residence to apply for a transfer. Monday, 15 January 2024 is the last day on which you can apply for a transfer. For further information, contact GCOM at 225-0278-9 or visit our website at www.gcom.org.gy.
The United States Department of Defense plans to work closer this year with the Guyana Defense Force to boost and modernize Guyana's defense architecture. U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense Daniel Erickson made that disclosure during a two-day visit to Guyana, which ended yesterday. During the visit, he met and held talks with President Irfan Ali and government officials, as well as with senior officials of the Guyana Defense Force. In an interview with the state-owned National Communications Network, Mr. Erickson said one of the main pillars of defense cooperation between Guyana and the U.S. is to ensure that the Guyana Defense Force is in a position to defend the country.
What we're principally interested in from the U.S. perspective is ensuring that the Guyana Defense Force is developing as an institution to really identify what are the capabilities that it requires and the gaps. And then we can see how the U.S. can help assist and ensure that it has what it needs in order to conduct its responsibilities to defend the nation.
Erickson said despite the security cooperation between the two countries, it was also important for him to come to Guyana to get a first-hand understanding of the issues facing the country and its defense system.
Well, for me, it was extremely important to come down and meet with the Guyana Defense Force to get a better first-hand understanding of how they see the challenges and opportunities and what the steps are that they are taking and wish to take in terms of military modernization. And so I think that looking forward, there's several areas where we can deepen collaboration.
The top U.S. defense official identified the need for intense training, especially in information sharing and cybersecurity, to counter the threat of transnational crime.
And we see the challenge of countering transnational criminal organizations and illicit trafficking as being one that really requires a whole of government response. And so the Department of Defense can play an important role in terms of strengthening intel cooperation. But of course, there's the national security agencies as well in Guyana that can have a very important role to play in this.
The U.S. and Guyana have a long-standing security partnership marked by strong collaboration between the U.S. Southern Command and the Guyana Defense Force. That partnership is focused on disaster preparedness, humanitarian assistance, maritime security, and other areas, including the countering of transnational crime. In a statement earlier this week, the U.S. Embassy noted the importance of the Guyana-U.S. relations. The plans for Guyana to have its own law school are still in the pipeline, with the feasibility exercise for the setting up of that law school still ongoing, according to the Attorney General's Senior Counsel, Anil Nandlal. The government has already identified the land where the school will be built. During a recent press conference, Mr. Nandlal noted that the feasibility study should have been completed already, but there have been some delays that have dragged the process on.
I agree with you that there has been a hold-up, and that delay is largely attributable to the fact that we have not gotten from the Council of Legal Education's law schools information that we have requested and that are required to do the feasibility study.
More than 2 years ago, the Council for Legal Education in the Caribbean agreed to accept a proposal from Guyana to set up its own law school. The Council subsequently outlined the requirements that need to be met, including the completion of a feasibility study.
The approval for the law school has essentially been given preliminarily. But we have to satisfy certain criteria and participate in a process before that decision is crystallized. And that is the process that we are participating in.
Just last week, the Attorney General dispatched a letter to the chairperson of the Council for Legal Education, seeking her intervention in the matter. Guyana has been finding it difficult to get certain information from other law schools in the region to move the process forward.
I believe the Council has reached the position that there are going to be additional law schools and that one will be located in Guyana.
At present, the Council operates law schools in Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, and the Bahamas. Guyana has been trying to set up its own law school for decades, since the number of students from Guyana accepted to regional law schools is limited. Well, popular race car driver and businessman Mark Vera has revealed that he was forced to file a complaint with the Police Complaints Authority over what he considers the police force's biased investigation into a reported incident that occurred in November between him and another racer, Maurice Menendez. In a statement which was released through his attorney today, Mr. Vera disclosed that the police investigators based their entire investigative file of the incident on statements from Mr. Menendez and never bothered to interview him or take a statement from him. He said he was arrested and photographed on the 21st of December after the police barged in at an event that was being hosted by his mother. Vera said the police investigation was conducted and submitted to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions without any input from him. He claimed that even when he attempted to file an assault complaint against the other racer over the incident, which took place at the South Dakota Circuit, there was no action on the part of the police. The office of the DPP confirmed to news source that advice was sought by the police on the assault matter, and charges were recommended to be filed against Mark Vera based on the submitted police file. The DPP recommended that Vera face charges of malicious damage to property, abusive language, assault causing actual bodily harm, assault and providing false information to law enforcement. Reminding that he has been a flag bearer for Guyana for several years in the racing fraternity and will not allow his name to be damaged, Mark Vera said he filed a complaint with the Police Complaints Authority over the handling of the police investigations. He said that the investigation is still ongoing by the Police Complaints Authority, but he learned through the press that there were recommended charges against him over the incident. While the DPP recommended charges against a popular race car driver based on the submitted police report, the Guyana police force has never moved ahead with taking him to court. The police force has also been silent on its reluctance to move ahead with the recommended charges against Vera. But Vera said the mugshot taken of him at the police station was leaked to the media by the police and was plastered across social media, even without charges being filed against him, and with the ongoing probe by the Police Complaints Authority. The businessman also leveled accusations at the Team Muhammad Racing Company over the confrontational incident that took place at the South Dakota Circuit. He said he intends to follow the course for justice as outlined in the laws of Guyana, adding that he has never resorted to violence, personal or authored, to solve any problem. Mark Vera says he will continue to await on the investigation being conducted by the Police Complaints Authority.
GCOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors OLE. If you will be 18 years or over by December 31, 2023, and you are a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM has posted the preliminary list of electors PLE for all registration divisions at popular locations across Guyana for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. You can make a claim for registration if you are not listed, change correction to your particulars if they are incorrect, or object to the inclusion of anyone who you believe should not be on the list. If you are desirous of making a claim or objection, you must visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to do so. The claims aspect of this exercise will end on Monday the 15th of January 2024. The objections aspect of this exercise will end on Monday the 22nd of January 2024. All GCOM registration offices will be open Mondays to Fridays from 8 hours to 18 hours, Saturdays and Sundays from 10 hours to 14 hours. For further information, contact GCOM at 225-027829 or visit our website at www.gcom.org.gy.
Imported frozen meat and food products, fresh produce and pet supplies, freshly made bread, rotisserie chicken and patties are also available daily. Shop in comfort today at Foodmax and let our courteous staff assist you in satisfying your shopping needs. Foodmax, the fresh food specialist.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Look who's in the mix now. The new Buster Soda Water. 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 artificial flavors. 100% refreshing. Taste Buster Soda Water today. Buster Soda Water. Now available for only $120.
With your regional and international news tonight, I'm Svetlana Marshall. In the region, Brazil's President Luiz Lula da Silva and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida discussed on Wednesday a potential trade deal between the Asian country and the Mercosur bloc of Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay and Paraguay, the Brazilian government said. In a report, Reuters said Lula and Kishida spoke by phone about strengthening trade between Latin America's largest economy and Japan. According to a statement from the Brazilian government, the Japanese leader intends to visit Brazil in due course. Mercosur has been in talks to finalize a long-awaited trade deal with the European Union, but Lula had previously said he wanted the bloc to explore new negotiation fronts with Asian countries, including China, Vietnam, and Indonesia. The South American bloc recently clinched a trade and investment deal with Singapore, its first with an Asian nation, and it's also eyeing a potential deal with South Korea. Some 181 community activists were murdered in Colombia in 2023, the Human Rights Ombudsman's office said on Tuesday, calling the situation a tragedy. The number of murdered activists, known as social leaders and human rights defenders in Colombia, was lower in 2023 than the prior year, the ombudsman said, adding that killings in 2022 were a record 215. The ombudsman, Carlos Camargo, said it is an unacceptable situation that last year, on average, a social leader or human rights defender was murdered every 2 days in Colombia. According to Reuters, the killings occurred in spite of President Gustavo Petro's total peace policy, which the government hopes will end Colombia's 6 decades of internal armed conflict that has left at least 450,000 dead. And finally tonight, international news. UK and US naval forces have repelled the largest attack yet by Yemen's Houthi rebels on shipping in the Red Sea, the UK Defense Secretary says. BBC in a report said the Iran-backed group launched at least 21 drones and missiles overnight, according to the US military. They were shot down by carrier-based jets and 4 warships, it added. No injuries or damage were reported. The Houthis have not commented, but they have targeted vessels in response to the war in the Gaza Strip. They have claimed, often falsely, the ships were linked to Israel. The U.S. military's Central Command said Tuesday's attack was the 26th since November 19. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.